All right, let's jump right in. We all know that prepping for your CDL hazmat exam can be a lot. There's so many rules, and honestly, a lot is writing on it. So, the goal here is simple. This is your focused, no-fluff study guide. We're going to break down exactly what you need to nail on test day.
So let's start with a big picture question, because you've got to get into the right mindset for this exam. It's not just about memorizing stuff, it's about understanding the responsibility that comes with the job. Keep this question in the back of your mind as we go through everything.
Here's our game plan. First, we're talking about you, the driver. Then we'll get into the hazmat basics, the fundamentals. After that, we'll tackle those all-important placard rules, and then dive into why your paperwork is literally a lifeline. And finally, we'll pull it all together so you feel ready to go.
Okay, let's kick off with Section 1, Driver Fitness. Look, before you can even think about what's in the trailer, the exam is going to test you on, well, you. These aren't just good ideas, they're the absolute foundation for every single professional driver out there.
Let's be crystal clear on this, because the exam sure will be. It's a zero-tolerance policy, period. You are expected to know that any controlled substance, whether it's illegal drugs or even those pet pills that some people use, is absolutely forbidden on duty. It's a simple rule, and there are no gray areas.
Now this is where the exam gets really specific. It's not enough to just know don't drink and drive. You have to know what the law considers one standard drink. And yep, they expect you to know these equivalents, that a 12-ounce beer, a 5-ounce glass of wine, and a 1.5-ounce shot of liquor all count the same. This is prime test material.
And here's the science behind it boiled down to one simple number. Your body can handle about one of those standard drinks per hour. Anything more than that, and your BAC starts climbing. The test wants you to get this fundamental fact. Only time can make you sober, nothing else.
All right, we've talked about the driver. Now, let's shift gears and talk about the cargo. Section 2 is all about Hazmat 101, the core ideas, the vocab, basically all the stuff that is guaranteed to show up on your exam. First things first, the official definition. If a test question asks what hazardous materials are, this is your answer, word for word. Products that pose a risk to health, safety, and property during transportation. It's a pretty broad definition, right? So let's narrow it down.
And that leads us right to one of the most common questions you'll see. The rules on this are super clear. There's no wiggle room. So, do you know the answer?
And there it is. That's simple. If the truck needs placards, you need that endorsement on your CDL. It's not a suggestion, it's a hard and fast rule, and a huge point on the exam. So how does anyone know what dangerous stuff is actually inside a trailer? That's what these numbers are for. It's a 4-digit code. You'll see it with a UN or NA in front of it. Think of it as a universal language for emergency crews. They can look up that number and know exactly what they're walking into. And now for the big one, placards. You know those diamond-shaped signs you see on trucks? This is probably the most visible part of hauling hazmat, and you can bet the exam is going to hit you hard on all the little details. You should treat this slide like your personal cheat sheet for the exam. Every single one of these points is a potential test question. The exact size, that classic diamond shape, the fact that they have to be seen from all 4 sides, and that you need at least 4 identical ones. You've got to memorize these details. This table gives you a great idea of how different materials are sorted into classes. Now, you don't need to be a chemist and memorize every single substance out there, but the exam does expect you to know these basic classes and be able to recognize some common examples. Knowing fireworks are Class 1 explosives, or gasoline is a Class 3 flammable liquid. That's the kind of practical knowledge they're looking for. Okay, you've got the right endorsement, your truck is placarded perfectly. The next piece of the puzzle is your paperwork, and the official manual doesn't just call it paperwork, they call it your lifeline, and for good reason. This quote is pulled straight from the study materials, and they put it in there for a reason. Imagine the worst-case scenario, an accident. If you're hurt and can't speak, these papers are the only thing telling first responders what they're dealing with. The exam will definitely test if you understand just how urgent this is. And because it's so important, there are 3 dead simple rules for your hazmat papers. Number 1, they have to be clearly marked. Number 2, they have to be on top of every other piece of paper. And number 3, they must always, always be within your reach when you're driving. Simple, clear, and totally non-negotiable. And here we are, in the home stretch. We've covered your fitness to drive, the basic definitions of hazmat, the critical rules for placards, and the life-saving procedures for your paperwork. These are the absolute pillars of the hazmat exam. So as you finish up your studying, I want to leave you with this last thought.
Passing this test is about more than just knowing a bunch of rules. It's about truly accepting the massive responsibility that comes with transporting these materials. So the real question is, are you ready for it? Good luck on your exam.